What is up, gents and gal? Grey Knight Dude here. We are going to go over our tournament that we actually just won over the weekend. Funny story, I actually recorded a 49-minute video about the tournament, super detailed, went over literally everything, and at the end of the video, I posted in Discord that I didn't have the mic on. So we're going to try to take two. We are 3 for 3 for tournaments for Grey Knights. This last tournament was all the way out. I forget where it was at, but it was about an hour away from me. So it was a long drive, smaller store. Kind of, I don't like the bash stores. It just wasn't set up very well. It wasn't a huge tournament either, but a lot of good guys, a lot of good competition. I brought a fun list. We'll go over the list. We'll go over everything. Don't make fun of it too much. But I brought a really competitive list at the last tournament, which made me bring a really fun list to this tournament, which I should have done vice versa. But this list, it's called super fast shit. So the whole goal was to kind of get in front of the enemy team as soon as possible and just use a Storm Raven to drop everybody off and be good to go. But this is going to go over kind of like we did the last two videos, pictures, talk about the games, tell you what I learned, what I would change, what the opponents were. And this is going to keep going on. Every tournament that we go into, I'll do a video like this because hopefully it helps other Grey Knight people out. Hopefully it helps tournament players out, kind of give tactics and what you should be focused on when you go into a tournament. So first off, we'll start off with the list. Let's see if you can, yep. So we got the list right here behind me. We'll start all the way at the top. We have two detachments today. We brought a Blades of Victory and a Rapiers. So both performed really well. The Blades of Victory, why I like the Blades of Victory is because with this list, I want to start up as soon as possible and start forward as soon as possible. So with the Warlord trait, with the Nemesis Dread Knight, he can actually bring him in a core unit within, I think, 8 or 9 inches of him in the first turn, up 6 inches. So basically, before the game even starts, your Grandmaster is now 6 inches forward with his Dread Knight armor, which then he can move 9, so he's basically 15 inches in front of your deployment zone, which means he's only a 9-inch charge to the enemy's deployment zone. So that's pretty cool on turn 1. And he has First of the Fray, so he's able to actually have an 8-inch charge, which is just crazy. Now, I brought a minimum unit of interceptors because of this. So I wanted the interceptors to go up with the Grandmaster, so the interceptors then get their 6-inch move, but then they get a 12-inch move on turn 1 if we go first. So now they are 18 inches, which means they have a 6-inch charge, which the Brotherhood, they actually get to reroll their charges if they use the Psych power, which most of the time we do. So turn 1, you already have a Grandmaster and a squad of interceptors in front of the entire army. Now, with this one, we also brought a Dread Knight who has a teleporter, so he can then teleport up. So you have 2 Dread Knights and a squad of interceptors in front of the enemy team. Then we have a Storm Raven, which is down here in the Rapiers list. The Storm Raven, yes, we did bring a Storm Raven. I told you it was going to be a fun list. It's got literally everything on it. That is then flying in front super fast with its multi-melta and plasma cannon and all the bolters in front of your list, which has inside a Dreadnought. Yes, we also did bring a Dreadnought with a close combat weapon and multi-melta, and a squad of 10 interceptors inside of the Storm Raven, plus a character. So you can bring in the Librarian, or you can bring in Crow, which, yes, we also did bring Crow, who I have to say is one of my favorite characters now. But we have Librarian, Drago, Grandmaster, Dread Knight, and Crow in this list. So basically, in front of the enemy team, you have Storm Raven, 10 interceptors inside, the Dreadnought inside, and then a character. Most of the time it's Crow. So you have all that inside the Storm Raven right in front of the enemy team. Then you have 2 Dread Knights in front of the enemy team, probably charging turn 1. Then you have a squad of interceptors, which is, charging probably turn 1. And then you can have another squad of... Then you can have a Librarian gated up from Drago turn 1. So basically you have the Mortal Wound Librarian gating up. You have all this... So I actually drew this out for you guys so it's easier. Let me see if I can find my drawing. All these guys in front of you turn 1, which just seemed really fun to try out. This was the drawing. It's like literally everybody is now in front, and that's death. So hopefully, like that. That's how I do things. It's old school, draw things out. So that's the thing. Now the rest of the list, let's go over it. In this detachment, the Blaze of Victory, we have which is one standard strike squad. Silencer, guys, you should be putting this in every single squad of strikes, because that extra 6-inch range when they're sitting back casting powers on the terrain things for the points. You cast the power, you get 1 point. You cast 2, you get 2. You cast 3, you get 4, which is awesome secondary. But they're basically just sitting back shooting stuff. So the silencer is a psi weapon, which means if you put amperic amplification on a unit that's 30 inches away, they then are turned into silencers, turned into 2 damage. So they hit on 3s if they don't move. Strength 4, so yeah, you probably need 5s or 4s or 5s. And then 2 damage each, minus 1 AP. Insane, right? It's free. So you should be putting that on every single unit. Now, mostly the melee units, like your interceptors, I don't put any weapons on them because they're always forward. But these are like the guys that hang back. If your strikes go forward, mine usually don't. Then you don't need weapons. But most of the time, you want the guns because you're hanging back and really just not doing anything besides casting the power. The Dread Knight has everything. He's got the Vanguard Aggression Warlord trait, Servant of Throne, 3++, and then he's got the Shunt thing. So Imperium Amplification, Gate of Affinity. The Librarian has Combi-melta. I would try that with your Librarians. It's pretty funny. The Vortex of Doom, and also the Purifying Flame. So that was that detachment. Now, this detachment, we brought Drago. He also has Gate of Affinity and Vortex of Doom. So if you put the Librarian into Deep Strike, you can then gate up Drago and cast a Vortex of Doom from 18 inches away, which I've done in plenty of tournaments. So that's kind of what you could do, is he could be your turn 1 Vortex of Doom, and then turn 2, Libby will come down, spend 1 CP, extend the range by 6 inches, spend another CP, roll 3 dice, spend another CP, cast Smite. So basically, turn 1 and 2, you're casting Vortex of Doom if you need to. Now, if not, you could just have Libby go up, cast Vortex of Doom. If he dies, now you still at least have a Vortex of Doom on the table if you need it. Then Crow actually has Empiric Amplification because he's in the Storm Raven. So if he pops out of Storm Raven, he could do either Purify Flame, spend 1 CP, cast Empiric Amplification if you need to. But that's there just in case you need it if the Dread Knight Grandmaster dies. But he's amazing. Crow is super fun. I wanted to test him out, and I definitely loved him throughout this tournament. Another squad of strikes, Silencer, obviously, Dreadnought, close combat weapon, and then 2 interceptor squads. And that's basically the whole list. It's super fast, super hits really hard, and that was about it. So that was the list. Now let's get into the pictures that I took. It wasn't a ton of pictures, but it was... I'll describe each game. How about that? All right, so this was the first board. Now, again, the setup wasn't anything like, if I wasn't there, we wouldn't have any terrain on the table. It just wasn't set up good. I probably won't go back unless like I know 16 people are going and a TO is going and stuff like that. So I basically just started throwing terrain on all the tables to try and make it even, so that way everybody has an equal playing field. But we played first floor was line of sight blocking. All the square pieces, there's no square pieces. Literally we were just assuming there was a square piece. Was line of sight blocking. Everything else was just whatever you see. We have hills, some forests. Again, I'm not going to bash the store. I'm just going to say how I played the mission and what that was. So this was the mission, 4 things. Now the first game we were going against Knights. This guy hasn't played this edition for like a long time. But he's got such a cool looking army. Like this is his paint job. Super hard hitting Knights. This is the first time I played Knights. The second time was Monday night against Craig. But he had 3 big Knights and then 4 little Knights. This guy had the close combat weapon. These 2 had huge guns. All had the missiles. These 2 ignored line of sight. And all these guys had the extra ones where if you roll 6, you get 2 extra shots, which was just awesome. So that was his army. It was really cool. And then my army was this one with the Wawa Cup. So basically, we had everybody was in, WYDSY Wig. So Storm Raven. I was actually missing an arm because who the hell runs Storm Ravens nowadays? So mine broke off on the way there. We're missing the plasma cannon up top. So that's our list. Now the setup, I got to go first. No, he got to go first. So this was the setup. I put the Storm Raven with all the guys outside. So I had the squads inside, but I had Crow and the Dreadnought outside because it actually helps in tournament settings where you can place models and see where they put their people. So I put the Storm Raven in last. So I'll put a Dreadnought down, knowing that I'm going to put the Storm Raven there, and then I'll put Crow down, knowing I'm going to put the Storm Raven there. So that way that's 2, and then Storm Raven's 3 models compared to whatever their model's putting down. So if you only have 10 squads, you don't want to put 4 of your squads in one Storm Raven right away, because that could be essential 4 drops compared to 1 drop. So that's kind of a little hint, is just putting people outside. If you know that they don't have line of sight to them, they're not going to get to them, and you're just going to put them in the Storm Raven and then fly away anyway. So that's what we did. We put these guys out. The Grandmaster moved back 6 inches over to there. This Dread Knight was behind the thing, and these guys are in the forest, and all these guys are kind of just chilling out right here. So again, he got turn 1. So he basically moved everybody up to get within range of my Dread Knight, which he shot, and then I shunted. And then he kind of did some pot shots. These guys got blown away from all of these dudes, and these guys shot at these guys. So basically after turn 1, this is what it looked like. I was able to move the Dreadnought up to shoot this one knight who made it all the way up here. The other knight was right here. So we had 2 big knights on my right side, which had most of my army. The Drago, he kind of just moved up to the 2nd floor just so he can put some spells out. And then the Librarian walked out so that way he can do all of the spells to the knight. So the Librarian was out. I didn't have to shun him. These guys were out. The Storm Raven flew up. These guys hopped out. So basically it was just a ton of wounds from the mortal wounds coming in from my army. And again, the Melta from the Dread, all the mortal wounds, all the side cannons, and then the Melta actually did 8 damage to that knight right there. So he did the shield thing to the knights right here. So he had a 4-up invuln save. So I was like, crap, I have to shoot the one in the back who has a 5-up invuln save. So basically I changed all my range to then this guy back here to blow this knight up and then assault this knight and kill it in combat. So that's kind of what I did there, was I just shot everything into this front knight, blew it up, Melta did 8 damage, which was ridiculous. Then everything else kind of salted and killed this knight. So then what he had left was this knight back here, and then these 4 knights kind of moving up and shooting the rest of my dudes. I just put my guys on the objective. There was another guy under here, and there's only 2 guys left over here. So that was my turn 1. His turn 2, he blew up the Storm Raven with the guys shooting across the battlefield. He put some damage into this Dread, and then he basically finished off the rest of the strikes over there. But with this turn, first time I ever had the Storm Raven blow up, all the guys got out right here in the building, so he couldn't see anything. Crow moved up, all these guys hopped out, so they're basically going to charge this knight over here. And then I kind of shot everything and killed these 2 walkers in the middle of the board. I wanted to try and max out on points, so I wanted to kind of slow grind it. I kept casting psychic powers on the objectives. I casted it on his objective, my objective. That one lonely guy made it, so he kept just staying there casting psychic powers. And then the back squad over here casted some psychic powers. So I was maxing out on psychic powers, maxing out on engaging all fronts. And I took the one secondary where if you kill knights that have 10 plus wounds, you get points. So I maxed out on that as well. So by the end of this round, we killed everybody besides this one small knight up here, which I kind of just let him live again right there to max out on just the points. So I didn't know that if you kill the knight, you can still continue to play. The one tournament I was in, they just called it, so I like lost out on some points. But if you kill everything off the table, you can then play out your own turn until turn 5 if you have enough time to try and max out on different points. But we still maxed it out anyway, so this was the final thing. Maxed and engage, bring it down, I guess that's what it's called, and then the psychic ritual, and then he got around 33 points trying to get the main mission, and then also grind him down. He took grind him down as well, which in knights you probably should, right? So that was the first game. Now the second game, this was probably one of my favorite games I've played in a long time, It was against a Chaos player. This guy ran his own tournaments up in Bethlehem, I think, is like an hour and a half away from me. But he runs tournaments up there. So he came down here, check out the store, check out the environment, all good guys. And this guy played Demons. Like his army was one of the sexiest looking armies I've ever seen. It was so cool looking. But this was the mission. Same thing here. We just threw terrain on just to make sure everything was good. Line of sight blocking. We found this random building here, which we used as line of sight blocking, so I couldn't see or shoot through it. Same thing here. So I had this side and he had this side, and we did the mission setup where there's a circle in the middle right here, and then you draw the line there, you draw the line there, and then you can set up 12 inches from the center in this deployment zone. So there's that side, and then he took this side. Now this was scary because all of his monsters, this was his list. He had 1, 2, 3 Slaanesh Demon Princes, big chicks. He had the Belphegor, I forget his name, the dude that Drago killed, Mortarion, I forget his name, that guy with the wings. He had a small Demon Prince back here with wings and an axe, and then he had the bird guy up here who can cast like all the powers. Every time he takes a wound, he can roll a 6 up, and then he gains wound back. He rolled so many 6s, so basically he just never died. So I ignored that guy throughout the rest of the game, and then Demon Prince up top, and then he had 3 squads of these small chicks. He had 2 squads of these horse guys, Slaanesh horse people, which are all fast. So basically everybody's moving 14 inches, can run and charge. He only had 1 gun in this whole list, which was like a whip. So everything else was kind of just psychic powers and buffing up an army and stuff like that. And this was my setup. We put the same thing up here. We put the interceptors up here, him up here, so that way if I went turn 1, I would move up 6 inches. Then move up 6 inches, and then I would basically be able to get 9 cast powers, 12 cast powers, and then charge. So that was like my goal. And then everything else was back here. Storm Raven was as far back as I possibly can make it back here, with the Dread and Crow, again, same thing out of the thing in case he gets first turn and then he walks up. My Libya was right here, just waiting for him to charge me. And then Drago was right here. And then we had a whole squad up here, a couple squads up here. We had 1 squad, I think, down here, as far back as I could, because his horses literally could just walk up 14 inches and then run and then charge my guys. So I wanted to stay back as far as possible. So here we go. I got first turn, and I think it would have been a completely different game if he had first turn, because he would have been right on top of me. Everybody probably would have died. So luckily, I got first turn. So all these guys moved up. Let me see if I took a picture. No. So all these guys moved up. I was able to put the Empiric Amplification on the 1 Demon Prince that had the spear right here. And then we just shot the shit out of her. So we killed her with weapons. Belfazor, whatever this guy's name is, got shot by the thing here. And we put a whole bunch of psych powers, all that stuff into him. I left him on 2 wounds. And the reason is because you should never split your fire. I split my fire with the Storm Raven, which I put like missiles and plasma into this chick, and then I put the Melta and bolters into him, which is bad idea. Just put everything into something you want to kill, especially if it's freaking this guy. So he lived with 2, so he's able to come up and just do a crap ton of damage. This guy flew up, this chick moved over, and this chick moved all the way over here. See how fast they are? I was able to charge this guy, not knowing that he had a 3 damage staff. See that 15 wounds? He basically had 15 wounds the entire freaking game. I just stopped shooting at him. I stopped charging him. I stopped doing everything to him. He's got a 3-up invul and save. He can cast a shit ton of powers, deny a ton of powers, and he just never dies. So I ignored him. Then I had to kill... He killed my Storm Raven, which then everybody... sorry, he didn't kill the Storm Raven. I was able to get everybody out of the Storm Raven, put them all down here, and then the Storm Raven flew up over to here. After this is what it looked like. I started moving my guys up to here to try and take care of this Demon Prince. These guys moved up. Everybody else got out. He killed these 2 interceptor squads. 1 hopped over here. 1 hopped over here. Crow got out right in the middle, and then the Dread got out right there. Then the Storm Raven flew up to here. It only had 2 wounds left. Because he just rolled really bad with the assaults, to try and put all of the shots into this chick, the heavy shots into Belfazor. I think he died this turn, and then all the regular shots into this unit up here. these dudes shot these Demonettes just to try and take them off the table. These guys shot these dudes just to take them off the table. Crow casted his spells, and then this guy shot a Melta into the face of this Dread and just crapped. He just died. So Melta right to the face and dead. That was hilarious. Now these Demon Princes right there and right there, they get buffs in the beginning of the game. So it's like -1 to hit, -1 to wound. So imagine like my Dread Knight who are like getting damage and now they need 4s or 5s to hit, which same with my Stormwave, needed like 5s to hit. But -1 to hit, now I need 6s to shoot you. Same with this guy. This guy had the same thing just innately. So 6s to hit you. Most of them need like 5s to wound, so I need 6s to wound you as well, which was stupid. So good. We then found out that it's only to shooting, which we didn't know. So, or he didn't say it, and we found out later on. So I've been rolling that in the melee as well. So I was rolling -1 to hit in melee and -1 to wound. So my 5s on my strikes turned to 6s. That was not good. So we found out later on that he cheated. No, I'm just kidding. We didn't know the rule, so we read up the rule, and then we found that out. So he kind of let me reroll some things. Wound up going in my favor either way because of primary. So I was always getting a lot of points on primary, and I was casting psychic powers at the same time, trying to get points for that. I'm sorry, I didn't take the psychic power one. I took engagement on fronts, which I got early on. I took the killing of the characters because he had a lot of characters, and I took my demon secondary instead of the psychic secondary. I took the demon one, where if I kill characters like demon characters, I get points. So I maxed out on that. I maxed out on assassinate, and I got engaged on fronts a lot, and I was getting the primary. So the points really helped in this tournament matchup. It wasn't about just as much as you can kill. It was more about just like getting the main mission going. Now what I didn't like about this was I turned around to the TO because we were only on like turn 2 or turn 3 because there was just so much going on. I turned over to the TO. I was like, hey, are we able to finish out the round? Like if we start the next round, do we then finish it? He's like, yes. I'm like, all right, cool. So great. I'm going to get to go. He's going to get to go. So it's even. I then finish on my turn. He's like, all right, I got to call it. I'm like, what are you talking about? You have to call it. I was like, I asked you if we're going to finish. And he said, yes. And he's like, yeah, but I got to call it. We don't have enough time. I'm like, bro, that is some bullshit right there. Like I felt so bad for the guy because he didn't even get to take a turn. And then we realized that it wouldn't have mattered if he did take a turn anyway, because we added up the points if he did or did not take his turn. And I still had this squad here. I'm sorry, this squad down here, and this squad attacking his dude, which again, we found out that it doesn't work in melee, the +1/+1. These guys, there was only 2 left. Drago was walking up. He was still alive. Do I have a last picture? No. So Drago was still alive. My Grandmaster somehow lived. I don't know how the hell he lived. These guys were dead. They only had 1 left. I had 2 or 3 interceptors here holding this zone. She was the only one alive. These 2 were dead, and this guy was alive. So we had 1 guy alive here, 1 guy alive here. These guys all died. She actually died at the end because we found out that +1/+1 didn't work. And then he had like 1 or 2 guys back here. So that was it. I won based off the points, not based off how many people we killed. And again, if we didn't finish off the last turn, I still would have won either way. But again, this was such a fun opponent. He knew a lot of the rules besides his own rule. But we exchanged numbers, so I want to get him into a battle bunker, so that way he can hopefully play me at my home place, or we can meet halfway. But I definitely want to face this list again. This list was just such a fun list to play against, and such a good opponent too. I would change things up a little bit. I would just try and focus one guy down at a time. Like again, I split fire on this guy. He should be dead. In melee, she should have died, and possibly in melee, she should have been bracketed or whatever. So yeah, it was fun. Definitely a fun game. We won this one. I didn't take a picture of the score, but we won. It was like 50 or 60 to 30 or whatever maybe. Now this game is against Nolan. He is a Thousand Suns player. He's a Drakari player. He's like every top tier army list player. We always play it at different tournaments. So he's a local guy. He's actually my last video I just posted on the channel. He's been to the battle bunker, so that's cool. But this guy, this was a fun game. So this is the third time playing Thousand Suns. First time was against him in the tournament. I beat him, luckily, because I had the Caluxus Assassin. Second time he just destroyed me. The video is posted because I ran Terminators and he just raffle stomped me. This one Was a very, very, very close match. Came down to literally turn 5. So we'll go over the points, but his list was basically all camped out over here. He had 2 of these dreads, which are just super Volkite dreads. They're just so freaking good. He had 2 spawn units. He had 3 squads of Terminators. He had the Demon Prince who can fly. He had the 1 leader dude on the disc with 3 powers. He had 2 or 3 5-man units, probably 3 5-man units of just regular Marines. And then he had the squad of zombies, which I don't know why he placed them there. They just got shot off the table turn 1. I think that was it. Oh, and he had a regular character that just was in the middle of the table casting the ritual the whole game. So that was his list. Pretty basic, pretty standard, but very good. So this was the setup. We had 1, 2, 3, 4 in the middle. We had 1 back there and 1 back here. My setup was pretty easy. A lot of line of sight blocking terrain in this matchup. So I put my strike and interceptor squad are here to try and get these zones. I put interceptor squad here, Grandmaster there, guy back here, strike squad, and Librarian Drago. Everybody else was back in the Storm Raven as far back as I possibly could. I got turn 1. So my turn 1 was not a good turn 1. I did not play it well, especially with the Storm Raven. I flew the Storm Raven as far forward as I possibly could. We went up to this little section right here, and I shot this dread off the table. That was about it. I put all my shots into the dread, and I found out that only the Melta needed to kill it. So the Melta killed it, took the dread off the table. All the other shots were just wasted, didn't really do anything. And then basically I have my thing right here, which has all my guys in it. So what he should have done, which I don't know the rules are specifically, but he should have just wrapped around the Storm Raven if he could, and just kill it. That way I can't put my guys anywhere, and I think they all just die. Thinking back on it now, I would not have ran it all the way forward. I probably would have ran it out to here and just ignored the +2 with the Melta, because at least I still would have got a lot of shots off on him. And then if it dies, I can then run him into the cover, and then they don't get shot. So then at least I get to move up and then get to assault off. So that was a bad play by me. I ran it too far forward. Again, I probably should have just ran it back to here, stayed 24 inches away, and then just shot the dread anyway. But lesson learned. Or this way, because there really was nothing over here. And his Terminators are pretty slow. So what did help me, though, was everybody was then here, got out, and he had to spend an entire turn and a half to try to kill all these guys. He left 1 interceptor guy in both units. He left Crow and the Dreadnought. So they were able to get some attacks off. We killed some Terminators. We killed the spawn. This dread got out, and then all 3 Terminator units were kind of just walking up and shot the crap out of everybody, killed them, and then assaulted them, and then killed them. So he then left combat with Crow, and Crow has the thing where if you kill him in combat, he gets to fight again, which I was hoping for, but he did a good thing where he just casted a bunch of spells and killed Crow. He did one thing, which was the big smite. I think he rolled a 5, and then he spent a CP and did a D3 additional. So Crow had to save 8 mortal wounds, which he did not, and he died. But Crow still took out some Terminators, which was hilarious. The Dreadnought took out 2 or 3 Terminators. I think it interrupted with the Dreadnought. So the Dreadnought took out some Terminators, and then the Strike Squad, the 1 Strike Squad, or the 1 Interceptor Squad that lived, then hopped all the way over to here, behind the building, casted a spell which he denied, and then charged his leader, the guy on the disc. So just getting that charge off, to me, was a win. Having my 1 interceptor who lived get all the way in his deployment zone and charges his leader was just freaking hilarious. He then died. He just bonked him in the head. But up here, I was controlling this zone most of the game. I had a Dread Knight right behind his hand right here, kind of blocking a little bit and then getting this zone. I had Drago getting this zone the whole game. And then over here, he eventually made his Terminators and Beasts through this wall, which killed the Librarian and the Strikes that were hiding behind this building. So most of the game, what won me this was, again, the primary. I kept casting the Psych powers as far back as I possibly could. I casted all the way back here. Drago was casting it all the way back here. And these guys were casting it all the way back here. So 24 inches away from most of them. So I was able to max out on most of the points for the Psych powers, as long as you stay that far away. What else? Demon Prince flew down here. He eventually, I think, died towards the end. At the very last part of the game, he had two separate. He had like the leaders of the Terminators left. He had uh, the HQ dude who is on the disc. He had one Volkite Dread. He had one unit of 5 strikes back here, and then he teleported his last unit back here to try and face Drago. That's why Drago's turned around to try and smite Drago off the board, which he did. So he finally killed Drago to get his points. I gated the last guys over here behind this little thing over here to get engaged on fronts, so that way I can max out on that. So I got engaged on fronts because they were back here, there, and I might only got 2 that turn because there was nothing else back here. But eventually, my Dread Knight Grandmaster kept walking forward because I wasn't getting shot at, and he wanted to shoot with this Dread at my Grandmaster, and then I shunted him, I think, over here out of line of sight, and then eventually walked up, charge, and then just died in melee. So it was a fun time. So we finished off. I think I took a picture. Yeah, so this is the final matchup. Again, it was close. So we maxed out on Psychic Ritual. We got 13 points for engage. We didn't get any grind him down. That was such a bad thing to take against Thousand Suns. And then we maxed out on the primary. Then he got 20 on the primary, 9 on the assassinate, 12 on his burn thing, which is his secondaries, and then 12 on Warp Ritual. So he does a thing where he just spends Cabal points to automatically pass the Warp Ritual, which is great because then I can't deny it. So he's always going to get 12 points for that. So we finished off 63 to 83. Again, very close game. So that's kind of how we finished it. Yeah, this was like the last picture. So yeah, I had a Dread Knight left, this squad, Drago died, and then he had his guys over there, these guys are there, and that was about it. It was bloody. It was a cool mission. It was the first time I played this mission. It was very, very active and very fun. And I think I would love to play it not against Thousand Suns. Thousand Suns are just brutal into Grey Knights. So yeah. So that was the third tournament Grey Knights were able to take in the Pennsylvania meta. Again, this was a fun list. It wasn't super professional or tournament worthy. So if you're thinking about copying it, don't. Just use it for fun missions or whatever. But the Storm Raven, I've been running a lot. I've actually made a new list with vehicle list. It's got 3 Dreadnoughts, 3 Dread Knights, a Storm Raven, Tech Marine, Captain, and a Grandmaster in a Dread Knight with 3 strike squads, and that's it. So basically it's a lot of just vehicles, which I'm probably going to be running a lot lately. I'm going to be shipping out my army to go get painted, so they're hopefully look all pretty when they come back, and then I'll be able to play again. November will be the next tournament, so we got plenty of time to kind of work out and play some test games in. But yeah, let me know what you think about it. Hopefully this again helped you guys out, get some tactics going, and what you should do. I really like the Interceptors. I really like the Librarian, as long as you kind of know where to play them and when to play them. Against Thousand Suns, he's kind of like handicapped a lot. I would save him as like my last cast of the turn and use that 1 CP to roll 3 dice and drop the lowest. But it's really hard to play him because you have so many psych powers you want to do, and most of the time they're not reliable because you're going to get denied out or an auto deny or roll 3 dice instead of dropping the lowest. They just take all 3 dice, which we don't have. So yeah, Thousand Suns is definitely brutal. But I want to get also more games in with tournament lists, tournament players, tournament practice. So AdMech should be coming up. Hopefully Opie will be able to play AdMech against us because I haven't played it yet. Jack is always up. I haven't played Nids, so we should play some Nids. What else? Nolan will play as Drakari, which we have to test against again because Drakari is just so freaking good. And I haven't played another Grey Knights player. I think it'd be cool to play Grey Knights versus Grey Knights. So if anybody wants to come to the Battle Bunker or wants to set up at a local shop, let me know. Hit me up on Discord. Join that in the link below. And what else? I think that's it, guys. I ordered my second Grandmaster kit. So we're going to have 5 Dread Knights coming out soon. 2 Grandmasters and 3 regular Dread Knights. So I might be running that a lot in the next tournaments. But for now, it's really just going to be the vehicle list for funsies. And yeah, appreciate it. Thanks for clicking on the video. Let me know in the comments below, and we will make another tournament video in November. But coming up, there'll be 4 battle reports, this video, and a couple of tactic videos. So appreciate it. Good luck, and we'll see you in another video soon.